And Donald Trump bashing President Obama for refusing to slay Islamic terrorism and hinting there's some kind of reason for that. His son, Eric Trump, standing by live. We will speak with him coming up and more next.
Obama is the worst thing that's ever happened to Israel. The worst. The worst. When I heard about it, I figured maybe not, but it turns out probably was related. Radical Islamic terrorism. And I'll tell you what, we have a president that refuses to use the term. He refuses to say it. There's something going on with him that we don't know about.
You heard the applause in the room. Donald Trump speaking at the Republican Jewish Coalition, saying that the president's refusal to use the words radical Islamic terrorism means, quote, something is going on with him. So what does he mean by that? Joining me now on that and other things this morning, Eric Trump, Executive Vice President of Development and Acquisitions for the Trump Organization. He is also Donald Trump's son, obviously. Eric, good to see you this morning.
Great to be here.
Good to have you with us. So, you know, when your father says there's something going on with him, meaning the president, that we don't know about, what does he mean?
My father's an incredibly practical guy. He's an incredibly direct guy. How you defeat an enemy if you can't even call them by their name? I mean, what they are, right? We have Paris. We have the shooting in California. We have many attacks all over the world. We have 9/11 here in New York City, not too many blocks from where we are right now. How do you defeat an enemy when you can't call them by their name? And listen, this problem's not going away. I mean, this problem's not going away. I mean, when does a president acknowledge the problem? And I think that's my father's frustration.
And that's the first part of what he said. The second part is there's something going on with him that we don't know about, meaning the president. What does your dad believe is going on with this president that we don't know about?
Well, something. I mean, it seems like he ignores every big problem that we have as a country, right? I mean, this one, the one that we're talking about right now, the fact that we're about to go above $19 trillion in deficit, right? And nothing gets done about it. He doesn't even speak about it. You have ISIS running all over the Middle East, totally unchecked. Obamacare is a total disaster. I mean, you've got so many problems around the world. Our educational systems are totally falling apart. Our military is falling apart. And nothing's being done about them. In fact, the conversation is not even had about those problems. I mean, it does very much seem like something's going on with the guy. Does he care? Does he, I mean, who knows? Is he just, somehow disconnected? I don't know, but something seems awfully wrong when you have all these attacks around the world, you have all these problems, and you can't even speak directly to them.
And that sentiment is clearly resonating with voters. We saw some brand new polls that we're going to get to in just a moment. But I want to first take a look at this other comment by your father. He said, in referring to how you deal with terrorism and how you deal with taking action against these perpetrators, he said you have to take out their families. When you get these terrorists, you have to take out their families. They care about their lives. Don't kid yourself. But they say they don't care about their lives. You have to take out their families. What do you think of that?
Well, listen, it's tough. And I think you need to be tough in order to fight a war as awful as this war is. There's nothing nice about war. There's nothing nice about terrorism, right? I mean, they're running planes into buildings. You have to fight a war. You see families that hop on planes the day before somebody runs a jet into a building that we have right here in New York. You don't think that person was harboring that terrorist in some way? You have to take care of the problem. There's nothing nice about that, but you better do something about it. Otherwise, it's going to keep happening, and innocent people who want nothing to do with this are going to continue to die. And we're seeing that in Paris, and we're seeing that in California, and we're seeing that just about everywhere around the world. You have to deal with the problem, and you have to be very tough on the problem. And hey, it's not going to be nice. This isn't going to be sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. I mean, it's the war on terror, and it's going to be very harsh, and it's going to be very vicious. But in order to win, you better be tough about it.
Let's take a look at the numbers because a lot of people are responding to your father's message. And this, I think, is such a significant poll that we're seeing. And it'll, in time, over the next several days and the next week or so, we'll see whether or not we get other numbers that also look like these that might suggest that there's a trend here. But you've got Donald Trump at 36%. Now, we have said, and many political watchers have said, he's stuck in 25, 27, can't seem to get out of that range. This is a very significant move. And then you've got Cruz. Also a nice move for him. He's at 16%. Carson falling a bit, down at 14%. Rubio and Christie. So when you look at that picture, and you look at New Hampshire, and you look at Iowa, and you look at South Carolina, what's the strategy to build on that, on whatever is, number is growing for him at this point?
Well, I think the strategy is keep being him, right? Keep going out.
It's working for him, right?
I was in Sarasota this weekend. There was 12,000 people there. I mean, the rally was absolutely incredible. The amount of passion, the amount of energy. But I saw the poll this morning. I saw it on TV, and I was just proud of him. I'm a proud son. He's doing so well. You know, he's been a politician exactly 5 months now. He's doing so well. He's having a lot of fun with it. And, you know, the energy behind him, I can't walk down the street without somebody coming up to me and saying, listen, tell your father to go all the way, please. We need him. My whole family's behind him. My whole neighborhood's behind him. The groundswell of support he has is absolutely incredible. And as a son, I couldn't be more proud.
So the digs against him are that he says things that are inaccurate. And that he doesn't have the depth of policy understanding to really grapple with the seriousness of these issues, if indeed he can get there. Those two things are going to get sharper as this process continues. Are you concerned about it?
He is an amazing man. He is a brilliant man. He is one of the best negotiators I've ever seen. He will go in there and he will change that government in about 2 seconds flat. I mean, you see the waste that we have in government. You see the overspending that we have in government. You see the problems. You see the problems with the VA. I mean, he will go in there and he will do an absolutely phenomenal job. I mean, he's worked in so many of these countries around the world. I mean, not necessarily, you know, some of the terrorist-ridden countries, but I mean, the man understands international business. He understands international affairs. That's what we do as a family. I mean, I'm building hotels in every country around the world right now, right? I mean, it's what we do. He will be a phenomenal president. He'll be a phenomenal leader. And I think he'll be a great cheerleader for this country, which, quite frankly, we desperately need.
Thank you, Eric. Good to have you with us today.
It's great
Interesting to watch. Great to have you here. Thank you.